golden eyes flashing. A human stretches out her hand and unleashes the dragon fire that burns in her veins. As an inferno rages around her foes, leathery wings spread from her back and she takes to the air. How intense.
I leave for 1 minute and he starts reading his fanfic on the podcast.
Long hair whipped by a conjured wind.
We talked about. Oh God, there's still cats. That's fine.
Cats in the view. That's all right. You know, this is a little something special for you video watchers. The audio listeners don't get lovely cats in the view, but unless you have cats at home. I'm
also going to be eating a little bit of a brownie if I have no patience in me, because I have not munched today.
At all?
No.
Oh my God, my man's starving.
I'm hyper-focusing, man. It's a balance. It's a weird balance, getting used to a new job, a new thing.
I feel that. A new schedule.
Speaking of new stuff, man, I realized, I already told you this, so this is a fake conversation. Can't even see Ryan. He's not even here.
That's half a podcast, our fake conversations.
Don't tell him that.
I can't even look in the camera.
Half of D&D is also probably sorcerers. But speaking of sorcerers,
going
straight into it, I actually knew things about this class this time.
Yeah, why is that?
They are adjacent to Warlock, I feel.
Yeah.
They do have a Blade Singer, which is kind of like a, spell sword sort of thing. So I feel like at some point I looked at
that's Wizard.
It's wizards, maybe not. I don't know. I recognize
but I think some of our favorite classes we reviewed, and like Tasha, Xanathar's, and UA have all been sorcerers.
Sorcerer gets some special treatment. Come here, bud. Oh my God. You just...
By the fluff. Perfect.
There we go.
There you go. That chair's all yours, Cat.
He won't like it. They only like things that they can take and steal. All
Much
these
like
things
sorcerers.
are branded. Yeah.
No, it's rogues.
Well,
we haven't done an episode of rogues yet. Maybe that's going to be soon.
It's probably going to be the next one. We only have what?
Artificer, rogue. Is that it?
No, we've done Artificer.
No way. No, we haven't.
We thought about it.
We've not done a full episode for sure.
I feel like we've at least thought about it. I've looked at it.
Maybe considered.
I think maybe we started doing the notes for it.
Yeah, I think we were considering starting at A and working our way down maybe at one point, and then we changed our mind. We haven't done Bard.
No Bard.
So Artificer, Bard, Druid. That'll be a fun one.
That'll be a fun one.
Monk.
Well, wait, really?
I think we've done.
We haven't done Monk
I don't think we've
yet.
done Ranger yet either. We've shit on the Ranger. I don't think we've done a full episode on them.
You just watch the whole podcast. We basically have done a whole episode on the Ranger. If you think about it.
I think that's it. So we have 4 left.
Huh?
Unless you also count Blood Hunter, but I would not.
Really?
I believe so. Yeah.
Is it?
Did I say Rogue? I don't remember if I said Rogue.
You did say Rogue. Rogue is probably going to be the one that we do next.
Yes, Rogue's fun.
Because I've looked at it a good chunk of bit, and then Barbarian's the next one that'll probably be. I got a little convinced after watching our episode.
Which is a great episode last week.
It was a very good episode. Kenneth was there. We have another person here in spirit.
Yes.
One of our players who's been with us for, I think we're going on 4 years of the group now.
Really, that long?
Yeah, because it's been 3 years for about a year. So that would mean it's 4 years.
4 years too long.
And she has played a sorcerer that entire time.
Mm-hmm. Well, now has gone into the multi-classing sphere.
It's still
paladin, little paladin
still
action.
Has sorcerer
still
in
full
there.
Sorcerer action. Yeah, so I asked her thoughts, and we'll be reading them a little later into the episode. But first of all, he's Braxton.
Oh, yeah, I damn do that. He's Ryan. Dungan Bungan. It's later than we usually record these things.
Yeah,
and
I'm a little tired.
I want to be scatterbrained because I don't have food in me, and I'm sweaty. It's hot.
Been working all day, I would imagine.
Yeah. What is it about having to record shit and just being sentenced to sweating in a room?
I think that's just
why can't we
sign up to be a voice actor, even just like an actor, period. Podcast or anything, you subject yourself to sweating in hot environments.
But I can't do my best if I'm sweating in my vest.
That's why when you get a little higher up in the totem pole, you have people to fan you, bring you stuff. You go to the green room for a little bit.
I just don't understand it. Why
Once
can't we have
hit that
quiet
level,
air conditioning?
We'll be feeling good.
That's all I want is quiet air conditioning. Why can't I have everything granted to me like the sorcerers do? Given by some other being.
That's a great.
They had sex with somebody who had powers, and then you were born. That's all sorcerers.
Yeah, ever. So that's a great segue into what is a sorcerer, right? So in D&D terms, well, I guess non-D&D terms first, because the D&D terms are a little longer. D&D terms, they are a arcane class abilities.
We like them.
They come from within yourself, not from a deity, not from a patron.
not from studying in a stupid ass book. They come from within. You're born innately. So in D&D terms, they have less spells available to them than wizards do.
But not warlocks.
Not warlocks. Wizards have it all.
They do.
They have more spell slots than warlocks, but who doesn't, right? Oh my god, he heard warlocks. It's like tore his microphone off.
God, I love Monkey DM, dude.
Yeah, Monkey DM's got some cool stuff.
He's releasing that Bloodborne thing.
I was gonna shout it out. Yeah.
My God.
I think it's out now.
I think it is. I want to play it so bad.
It's like D&D Bloodborne inspired stuff. Really cool.
Oh my God. What is going on here? What happened to you?
Oh,
I see.
Oh, it just came
We're just hanging out.
off. What the hell
I'm
just
pole
happened?
dancing for a little bit, guys. We're hanging out. If you aren't on the YouTube and you want to see me struggle
How did that even happen?
Well, over time, this spins and then we tighten
that's
this,
fair,
so
yeah.
it just gets too loose. I'm not as naturally gifted and talented as sorcerers are. I have to struggle for my powers and my gifts.
You were not in GT?
No, I think
GIT?
gifted, talented. Come here. Come on. Get over here. Why is life so difficult with them?
Cats just give you the wide-eyed, like, I know I'm not supposed to be doing.
While I figured this out.
Oh, they just stood all over your go XLR. Sometimes they hit something.
Oh, actually?
Something's flashing.
Now we're good. Come here. Oh my goodness. Can you get her?
Yeah.
Jeebus crust. If you have, this is how we're recording this today. I'm sorry if there's stuff going in the mic.
Number 5 is flashing. You know what that means?
I think it's just when you record something. The good thing is recording on a different interface, so it shouldn't have pressed anything. My VTuber sound effects, she will not have given you one of those.
Great.
She has given one to my coworkers.
Oh, nice.
It was embarrassing. But they're all from Discord, so they're all big nerds.
They get the idea, yeah.
Yeah, these cats are all over the place. So, sorcerers...
More spell slots, yeah, I said that.
They do have more spell slots.
But everyone does.
They're also another one of those classes that are kind of pigeonholed into being the face. Because they have charisma. And I started thinking, like, you know what? I don't like spellcasting modifiers.
Yeah, well, why do you think I guess 'cause they need another charisma class, but why do you think charisma is tied to sorcerers?
Because it's force of will. They don't get their power through intelligence that they've gotten from book smarts. They don't get it from
wisdom. No, I mean
wisdom is still
kind of
learned.
like street smarts kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's intelligence can be bad in the form of ignorance.
I mean, I guess of all the options, charisma's probably the only one it could
it's
have
not going to
gone
be strength
into.
or dex.
Yeah.
But charisma, again, Monkey DM, I love the dude so much. He's so cool. I love seeing his stuff and his accent. He mentioned that charisma, and I think people already know this, and we probably talk about this. It's not how well you talk. It's not how awesome you strut as a cat on the table.
That's going back.
It's more so your force of will, which is why there are some spells that seem like they shouldn't be saves that, like mind control stuff. It's like, why isn't that wisdom? Right. Well, it's because your force of will, your existence, your aura or pressure that affects people, even if you're a quiet dude, like a strong dude, but you have a high charisma, you say like a word once, people are like, shit, that's charisma. Or it can also just be what we described before, a bard who's good at words. But it's still just your ability to influence. I'm on stage, man.
Yeah, it's
I'm
cool.
gonna have to spin this around if I.
Yeah, you look like you're doing stand-up comedy or something.
I'm not standing.
You sit down comedy.
Sit down comedy.
The other thing that sorcerers have that's unique to them is their meta magic.
Oh God! See, that's the thing that tempts me.
That's where the versatility comes in. That allows them to sculpt, shape, change their spells. Like twin spell, you can cast the same spell twice on two different creatures.
Limitations with that.
Quicken spell.
Yeah, you can't just make 2 fireballs and shit like that.
No, it has to be something that you targets an individual.
Yes, so you can't get too busted with the warlock sorcerer. And I know, yes, that is the thing I'm mentioning right now. I do like warlocks. Everything is through the window of a warlock's gross, fleshy patron eyeball, as they are wont to be. But for sorcerers, I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan.
Why not?
Wizards and sorcerers are probably my 2 least interested classes.
So if you were to pick a arcane caster that's not warlock, would it be wizard?
I would do Eldritch Knight. There we go. I found the loophole.
Yeah.
I would probably pick sorcerer over wizard because wizard bores me even more.
Yeah. I mean, sorcerer. So the fun thing with sorcerer is the meta magic for sure. You get to do different stuff, but you have less stuff to do that stuff with. So you have less spells.
Yeah. Well, everything's more spells to me. For sorcerer, a lot of what you're doing tends to be upcasting lower level spells. for efficiency versus wizard, you just have everything already. So
Yeah.
why not just go ahead and cast the higher leveled damage spell itself? But
And you can get it back with a sorcery point.
yeah, it's the meta magic or the versatility that it presents that does interest me. I don't feel now wizards have to prepare their spells and they have a lot of options just at hand, but I love a little bit of restrictiveness because restrictiveness
Yeah.
begets creativity.
Yeah,
which is
wizard
fun.
has a tool for every problem, while the sorcerer is more like they have a set amount of tools and they can use those tools to fit whatever problem they got.
But the thing I wanted to talk about most first with sorcerers is what we talked about for the other classes that have specific patrons or gods that they are said to in the book to need to worship in order to get their powers, right? We've mentioned sorcerers get their stuff from birthright. Maybe they were just blessed by a constellation. They're the anime person, the chosen one. They were isekai'd for no reason. You can change it. You don't have
People
to be
love
like
them
that.
or hate them for that.
So does it have to be something given like that? Is it okay if your player comes up to you and says, hey, I want to be a sorcerer and I still want to have learned some things or gotten my skills? Are you going to say, no, that's not what a sorcerer is. Go play a wizard?
I mean, I'd say what you could say is the sorcerer could have had at least. I mean, I kind of think of Harry Potter in a way. That
Yeah.
The wizards in Harry Potter, the sorcerers in Harry Potter, they all have the innate ability to do it because they're squibs that are born in the squibs that are born in the wizarding world. For example, Filch, the caretaker guy.
I don't remember any of this.
The guy with the cat.
I don't remember any of this.
Damn. Okay. Well, so the thing is called squibs. They are characters that are born within the wizarding world, not muggles. You know what muggle is.
Yeah.
Not muggles. Not you and I.
I don't have one with me right now,
right.
but if I could get you some coffee if you
Are
want.
born within the so like their parents are wizards, but they can't cast spells. They're not innately born with that magical ability. But then you take it a step farther. So the ones that do have the magic abilities go to a wizarding school and they can learn more. They can learn how to hone that talent, I guess. So you could then say that you could have a sorcerer in your game that has that innate ability to cast stuff, but has to learn how to hone that ability. And you could learn different spells that way. And you could even, maybe instead of going to a wizarding school, you decide to go to a priesthood. And that's where the divine soul pops in. So you learn the cleric abilities instead.
The subclasses do make it a lot more interesting. Then I will pose to you, what is the difference between a warlock and a sorcerer? It's pretty similar.
Can be, for sure. I mean, you could say, like, for example, there's some warlocks that don't know their patron, so it kind of is like coming from within, but there's still something looming out there.
Yeah.
While the sorcerer doesn't necessarily have to, unless, I mean, the aberrant mind, you were touched by an aboleth, possibly, so that aboleth probably exists out there in the world, and they might show their ugly head
Power
at some
is
point.
yours, though.
Yes, it is yours. It's not inherently based on if the
borrowing
aboleth
it.
hates you.
Yeah. So warlock,
You could lose your ability.
if you have a fun, fancy DM, like Ryan would at some point probably, if it comes to this, rip my warlock powers asunder from me.
Right.
Which it would be, it would make sense at this point in the campaign. I won't get too much into it. But I've always, and I realize this is why, looked at Sorcerer because it seemed so similar. It's just the focus more so on spells rather than the versatility or the, what is it? Not like glass cannon, but just randomly popping off nature that warlocks are. That's a lot more fun. These guys are more consistent.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd see the comparison too. Even some of the lore of like some of the subclasses, like especially Aberrant Mind, obviously, is very similar to a warlocky type class.
I mean, it's literally just warlock sorcerer.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry if there's rattling on this mic right now, but you're just having to deal with it today.
You can't get back on.
I could. I would have to just do a whole ordeal, a lot more rattling, and you'd have to cut it out. This is kind of fun. I feel cool holding a microphone scepter.
It's fun to hold microphones. That's what we used to do back in the
We did
the
used to
old
do
days.
that. So if the person who said you guys need to get mic stands and then subsequently on the other episode said, hey, with the mic stands, it looks real nice. Say we look hot.
Yeah.
Because I am kind of hot right now. We're going to just do this. Is it really just like not?
Jeez.
I hate everything right now. Let me just do this. Come on.
Are you just going to take it off?
We're done. No, I'm just going to deal with
there you
this right now. It's fine. I'm going to hold it close up to the
Yeah.
microphone. Sorry if this episode is all over the place.
It's all right, That's what you pay for, or not even pay for. That's what you view into
You can
the dungeon
pay for
crawl.
it.
You
You
can't
have a Patreon.
pay for it,
You
but
can pay for it.
that's what you don't come here for a super polished podcast. You come here for having fun.
Maybe one day. Will you have fun playing a sorcerer though? I
think so.
RP wise, I don't think there's really.
I think the RP is definitely based around your subclass for sure. I think more so than other classes.
Really?
Yeah, because each one is very specific to, like, you were touched by an aboleth, you are close to the Shadowfell, you cleric-y stuff, yada, yada, yada. There's a few things I think you should pay attention to as a sorcerer RP. I mean, so Xanathars, so I always like quoting from Xanathars. They say a few things about it, like your arcane origins, like where did your powers come from? Is it an aboleth, or is it some other psionic beast out there that it's made very Lovecraftian, that something touched you from the beyond, and now you're connected to it. So kind of warlocky, but again, you're not based around your powers on that.
Again, you're talking to both of us, or listening to us on this podcast right now. We like warlocks and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
When Aberrant Mind came out,
that was our favorite class ever.
boy, I was stoked.
And then, are you even aware of like where your arcane origin came from? You just were just chilling, and then suddenly you could zap somebody.
Yeah, I think most of the time it's by birth, but I wouldn't veto a player in my game saying, "Can I be a sorcerer by some sort of like Fantastic Four superhero
you could
event?"
like level 10, maybe you kill a aboleth, but the aboleth connected to you at some point and controlled you, and you're like, "Hey, how about I now multi-class into sorcerer because I met that aboleth?" Yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
You would multi-class into warlock if the aboleth was controlling you and put a contract over you, or it is like you still have a tether to it,
right?
If it's going,
yeah,
it doesn't have to know, but
like sorcerer is probably one of the multi-class classes that would be tough to justify you just switching and getting it, unless you have
works fine.
Some reasoning behind it.
I never thought about it that way though. I was having a lot of fun imagining scenarios in which that would work outside of just birth, because the Dragon Soul one, it's just the soul of a basic fucking dragonborn.
Yeah, I guess you could say that triggers at a later point in your life, and so that's why you suddenly become
your late mutant bloomer, puberty. I'm just messing with this right now, trying to figure out how
when
to get sorcerer.
I probably should have looked this up.
Are you talking about abilities now? Is that where you're going?
Well, when does the subclass kick in for sorcerer?
I think it's
level
3 or 2.
Level 3. Okay, so you would have to actually go a few levels before.
Please confirm. I could be wrong. And I don't want them to hate me.
So you have to go a few levels before you even were to get.
And I hate to say it, but that's kind of a common theme with sorcerers. Is some of them are good from the get-go, but a lot of them I noticed don't get their fun ability or like really useful thing until like 6 or 14.
You get your new spells at first level. And you're okay, so you actually it's a first level thing. So you're right, it kind of comes from birth.
Yeah, that's good.
I
Told you, I only know warlocks. And
meta magic kicks into level 3. That's where I.
Damn, you're not even a class really. That's how D&D is. That's a different gripe. That is another gripe for another day with D&D. But for sorcerers, I noticed a common theme of why I don't end up picking them is I wouldn't have my fun ability or the thing that I was really excited about until like often 6th level or 14th level.
Yeah.
And there's like all classes. Of course, the final ability there is going to be the more fun one, the more interesting one. But it was really common that I was just like, I don't like any of it. Just
not even your fun ability. Like there's many classes out there that you don't get anything till 3rd level. Doesn't even, you get your starting stuff, but you don't get your subclass until 3rd level.
Yeah.
While sorcerers is first, so I guess that's an incentivization.
It just goes with the theming of it as well. So I'm fine with it being structured that way. And would it be a little too homogenous if every class got stuff at level 3? Yeah,
that's fair.
That'd be fair.
So the other stuff Xanathars mentions is the reaction to your powers. So when your powers began to manifest, like maybe when you were a kid, how did the world around you react? How did you react? Did people begin to shun you, or were you like elevated to a higher status because you were now touched by the gods? Or maybe it's not the gods, something worse, but they aren't aware of that.
Don't want them to touch you.
So I like that idea. Think about how your manifestation of your powers freaked people out around you. After that, there's a supernatural mark, such as a birthmark or some physical trait that is unique to your innate magic. So, for example, in our home game, the shadow sorcerer that we have, her face is scarred from shadow energy as a child. Was slowly like cursing and taking over her body. So that's something to think about. I don't think the supernatural mark is something that you need to have as a sorcerer.
No, but I think it's
cool.
fun. Like, this is where my power comes from.
Yeah, so it's a constant reminder. Yeah. And it's interesting that in Xanathar, it's even said that you could view it as a sense of pride. Like, this is where I come from.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool.
It could be fun to be is it literally just Dragonheart? Is that the name of it? I can't recall. Dragon whatever. You actually have a miniature dragon heart, and there's like a cult of people that want to Kalima and rip your heart out because they find it delicious. They find sorcerers like yourself. Cool little things like that.
Isn't that what Dragon's Dogma does to you? Like the first cutscene, they rip out your heart.
Oh, Dragon's Dogma. Fuck. I was like, Skyrim. What? Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Then you don't have it for a while, but that's spoilers.
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Dragon's Dogma 2. I flipped my shit. I was going to get Nikki, and I couldn't watch it live.
I thought I heard like a disturbance in the forest when that happened.
No, I yelled, man. Didn't expect anything.
And then the final thing that Xanathar touches on for RPing a sorcerer is the signs of sorcery. So we've talked this before with barbarians and fighters, that your fighting style and the way you interact in combat is a good way to RP. Like if you're a fighter that wasn't trained well, you're just pretty brutal in your actions.
Yeah.
Same with the sorcerer stuff. When you cast your spells, there's something unique that happens whenever with shadow energy, maybe the shadows begin to coalesce around you, or aberrant mind, maybe your hair begins to stand up as you cast your spells. It's the most
anime class of the spellcasters.
Yeah.
Goku's kind of like a monk more so, I would say, but it's a similar sort of thing. Any character you've seen that just has like their glow effect, or the Borderlands, what are they? The Sirens. Mm-hmm. Very, very much a sorcery type class. If you're looking for something to build off of or inspiration, and probably a lot of you are fans of the Borderlands series. The Tiny Tina's Wonderlands came out. There's a whole D&D based thing. I didn't get to play it. Heard it was very good, short and concise. I think it's only $40. So.
And the person that voices Tina does a lot of D&D stuff.
It's a lot of stuff.
But so our friend, our lovely friend in our home game, she said a couple RP things to be aware of as well. So she said it could be fun to play an entitled kid with magic powers that doesn't understand what their powers are, but they're the only ones that have it. No one else around them does. That could be a fun little RP moment. And then your character growth is you begin to appreciate the people around you that are different.
They're
no longer
different, not worse.
not cool, not as cool as you.
Yeah.
And then good things to consider, and I agree with these questions. How did your character learn that they had powers? Kind of what we said before. Do they know where they came from? Do they know how to use them? How do they feel about their powers? And she even gave an example, is her character hated her powers for a while because she hurt someone she cared about accidentally with them. And for a while was just focused on figuring out how to use them. Also didn't know where they came from, so it's a big part of her adventure journey / character.
You know what I really want? They need to spray the bugs in the place. They're coming into apartments.
My cat just looks at the bug and then expects me to go get it.
He just squeaks at it. He goes, meep, and he tries to kill it. She'll kill it on sight, but he just toys with it and tortures it.
Cats are for, man.
I'm going to make Kenneth happy if he's listening right now. I feel like sorcerers, certain ones of them, or maybe any of them, if you feel like doing this, should have risks with using their magic. If they're like untrained with it, or maybe there's just a class that has it at some point. That's more along the lines with, yeah, exactly. So, but that's random.
Yeah.
Not like I'm going to supercharge a fireball and it's going to give me fire damage or something.
Yeah, it begins to take over you.
Yeah. And then like warlocks, I would want risk and reward, or maybe like lowering stats and shit for getting a spell slot back until like a long rest, or taking exhaustion. Scary, but...
Yeah, I told you before, I've been playing Eldritch Horror a lot. Actually, I don't think I mentioned this on a podcast. A tabletop game with my girlfriend. Great game. Definitely recommend it. I'm obsessed with it now. So much fun. But there's a mechanic there when you begin to lose your sanity, and there's certain characters that can cast like eldritch spells, kind of like warlocks. And if you roll poorly enough and don't do a great job, the spell still takes effect, but you begin to lose your own sanity because you're descending deeper into madness. And so that'd be an interesting way that if you're tapping into this elder god, maybe you begin to lose something. But the problem, and we should do a whole episode on this, because I love sanity and madness, obviously.
It's hard to RP, though. Yeah,
well, it's hard to RP, and B, the short-term and long-term madness in D&D is terrible. I hate those tables. I think they're not a good way to show, like, sanity stuff. So
I
that's,
think
that's
they knew
something
it
we should talk
wasn't
about.
an idea they could flesh out well enough for people to like be able to
It's
do
very
it.
tough for sure.
But there are ways to gamify it, at least.
Yeah.
Maybe you gain more spell slots, but you're only restricted to Eldritch
gets
certain, or your health, like fucking
Or
glass
quartered,
cannon.
maybe.
You have to be careful because giving too much glass cannon opportunity can just bust shit. So I don't want to make it to where
we're
you
not game
have to pick
designers.
that. Yeah. But I feel like that would fit sorcerers really well, especially either a younger one, not even just the wild magic, because that's just the Feywild is
Chaos,
randomness. I want like hurts me or no, that's a
So I recently
path to
watched.
go on, but-
It's completely off topic, but I recently watched the last Shrek movie because I'd never seen it before, and my girlfriend just
What's the what is the last Shrek?
Forever After Shrek Forever After.
Yeah, something like that. Okay.
It's got like Rumpelstiltskin or something.
Rumpelstiltskin.
But Rumpelstiltskin gave me big Feywild vibes. So if you want any,
I mean, all
like,
that shit is Feywild technically.
Kinda,
Fairy tales,
yeah.
Grimm's Brother Grimm.
True,
Grimm,
all
go
fables
boom.
and stuff. But if you want like some really good like Fey Lord type energy and like how to RP a Fey Lord, I would watch that movie. It's not a great film, but like he gives deals to people, has them sign contracts kind of like a devil, but there's hidden features in all the contracts that can obviously mess you up later.
You're brave telling the internet that Shrek's not a great film.
No, the final one.
Any Shrek.
I don't know.
is
The
love.
last
Shrek
two
is
Shrek
life.
films, not it. The first two, spectacular.
I'm not a part of this.
Have
I
you
didn't
seen
say
them?
that. Yeah. Well,
You
I was
like the
super
last
young.
two?
I'm not allowed to give an opinion.
All right. The first two, fantastic films. Last two, not so much.
Another super short tangent. Did you know that people, whenever they were doing poorly at a studio or one project at whatever, is it Pixar, DreamWorks? I don't remember.
DreamWorks, yeah.
They would basically get sent to the gulag, and the gulag was
hell?
Shrek. Working on Shrek. It was supposed to be like the shittiest thing, awful, and then the movie
So the
got
first one?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Nobody wanted to work on it. It was a terrible place to be, but it's turned out how it has.
Wow.
Yep. So that's where they would get sent. Funny stuff. I think, where are we leaving off? Do we jump into subclasses already?
Yeah, we just do a little mechanic stuff. We never dive super into mechanics. That's not our job here. But so there's a lot of cool subclasses here. My favorites, I'm going to start there. My favorite subclasses, we've talked about it a lot. Aberrant Mind.
Yes.
It's a psionic themed class. It's which is cool because there's not many psionic stuff in D&D.
No.
Based around the idea of an alien influence that's wrapped its tendrils around your mind. It's quoted directly from the Tasha's.
I think it's from Tasha's, yeah. The first two, the two coolest classes are from Tasha's.
But it's true. It's a very powerful class, but it's also just very fun.
Well, you get access to a shitload of, how dare you, warlock spells.
Yes. Which reminds me. So the Tasha's special features, that's what I'm going to call those, is very important for most classes, but I'd say especially for the sorcerer, because they add a whole bunch of new spells, and I would definitely recommend to do that for all the classes.
Yeah, I always go check that. And it's kind of hidden. I wish it was just on by default, to be honest.
Yes.
But not everybody has that. So the reason outside of the theming for Aberrant Mind, like it so much is it comes out strong right at the beginning of the gate. You get a ton of new things and spells to look at.
Warlock spells.
How dare you again. And you don't have to be a great old one warlock in order to get telepathic speech at level 1 or to be able to do that sort of thing, which is really fun because
Does Warlock get at level 1 too?
I think so. No, you get your patron at, I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've had it. I haven't had to make a low-level warlock in so long. Do you understand that? Third level, you get a pact boon.
Yes.
Which is usually the book.
I'm checking real
I think
fast.
at first is when you get to pick your patron.
Otherworldly Patron is level 1. And I assume it just, you get it right away.
Yeah, great old one.
So many Eldritch Invocations. Whew, it's half the page here.
Oftentimes, whenever we do the section of the subclasses, it's basically just checking over rpgbot.net and looking over that because it's a great website.
RPGBot.net does great work. It is, in fact, level 1. Yeah, Awakened Mind.
So if you're wanting something like that and you're wanting to actually be able to cast spells and do things, never go with Great Old One. Unless you just really want that patron non-relationship because he's not going to fucking care about you. He's
you can talk to your DM and get it anyway.
I asked you about that forever ago. Never. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But it's just really cool. And the last few abilities are all fucking ridiculous. Yeah, being able to use Force Cage at all outside of Warlock and whatnot. I know other people get to use it, but usually it's something that you
go to
take.
cast 9th level spells, but also be Warlocky kind of. That's cool.
I get 1 9th level spell.
You get 1. Yeah, they get a couple.
Listen, it's fine. But hey, second up, I think for both of us is Clockwork Soul.
Oh,
Yeah?
No.
You don't like Clockwork Soul?
I don't. Okay.
I would never play it to its max level.
Well, this might be a hot take, but I've never liked clockwork stuff in D&D, period. I hate when I see anything clockwork.
Just the theming?
I think so.
So it's not the mechanics, it's the theming.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about this with, what was the little like level 1 creatures that you like?
Oh, come on.
The Modrons?
This isn't about order,
No, but it
though.
comes from Mechanus.
That's true.
And I don't like Mechanus.
I get that.
And I don't know why it's just something inherent within me.
That's with me.
Like
I
a sorcerer.
can't play druids. I'm not a naturey boy.
But why do you like clockworks?
I just like time shit, okay? And it's controlling. It's very controlling. Time shit and control in the battlefield. It's very fun, and it's not often done.
Yeah, I love the Chronology Wizard.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to make control in D&D because combat's fast, and not a lot of abilities impact things this much unless it's a really high level spell in just a few seconds you have to act. So it's really not much you can do. And it's on a tabletop. Having fancy AoE abilities that shift people around, move stuff, I don't think it's in the design of 5e. And this one does it just a little bit more. You're able to, I think specific. It deals with advantages, people who have advantage on saves against certain conditions. Bastion of Law, I think this one also just gives you temporary hit points in a sense, but it's time-based, and I like that because I like JoJo and shit.
Okay, it is kind of cool.
I would never go past like 6th level, though.
Really? You don't like
Trace Order and Clockwork Cavalcade? No.
Order?
No, Transport, no.
You can enter the state for 1 minute.
No.
I
would multi-class
That
this.
is kind of lame. For the duration for 1 minute, attack rolls against you can't benefit from advantage. Whenever you make an attack roll, saving throw, a lot of other stuff, and you treat a roll of 9 or lower as a 10, that's rogue stuff that they get at like 6th level. Yeah. I think they actually get a 10th level.
So that's my viewpoint. And then my last one, I don't know if there's like really anything in particular, to be honest. If I had to pick one...
Before you say that, I feel like Sorcerer doesn't have many subclasses.
No, really doesn't.
So we just did Barbarian. I feel like there was a lot for me to look through. Yeah. This one only has like...
Which is weird because Barbarian only had 2 in the Player's Handbook.
This is true.
Very strange. I guess they just didn't either have time or think people were going to enjoy playing it based off of 4th edition. If you want to heal, it's Divine Soul. So
I like Divine Soul. That's my second favorite.
I just like it flipping it around and being focused on a little support, even though it's usually a DPS sort of class.
Yeah, if you want a healer to your party, but it's not a typical kind of healer, then boom, that's your stick right there. Mm-hmm. And you get some cleric-y spells. Your magic's coming from divine energy. I think it's very exciting.
I even considered playing it at some point. I don't remember why or what for. But Sorcerer is interesting in the way that when you read each of these subclasses, it's like, oh, you get spells from the cleric or the warlock, or you have a lot of what the wizard has. It's like, why can't they be their own person? You know?
I guess it's fair.
Because they're battling with this entity that's given them some sort of gift in their self. Like, which is really them?
I like the idea of the divine soul. You are held up on this pedestal because you have the god energy, but you're like, I don't care about this god. I don't want to be blessed. It's kind of like the Asima that doesn't care for their daddy.
Yeah.
You know, and you're kind of like, I don't care for this deity. It's giving me this power. So you're like the opposite divine soul. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. And then is our player using shadow magic?
Yes. Yeah. Shadow magic's my third favorite. Really?
I feel like some of the abilities are so, you don't feel them a lot.
True. I do want to point out something to you, and maybe if our friend at home is listening. Now, I don't know if she was aware of this, but from my understanding of reading Hound of Ill Omen, you can just summon as many as you want. So you could just get an ass load of hounds. They don't really do much, but you can just give disadvantage to everyone and crowd the board by spending all of your sorcery points on hounds.
There is no limitation how many you can summon.
Yeah, just your sorcery points.
Yeah, you can summon one every turn until you run out of sorcery points.
That's kind of sick. The hound doesn't do much, to be fair. It's just a dire wolf. But
getting to spawn that many it's a bonus. Oh, is it a bonus action or an action?
It's a bonus action. Yeah.
That's adding an extra die of damage or 2
and
or
disadvantage. And if there's 3 creatures on the board, you just summon 3 different hounds, and now every creature on the board is disadvantage to your stuff. And then you could give like flanking bonuses to people. I mean, the Hound's pretty cool. But I don't have that many minions. I'm glad she hasn't been doing that yet.
Well, good thing we're nearing the end of the campaign.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, Umbra form's really cool too, level 18, but that's very high level.
I don't know. We can do like a one shot or two at like super high level. I'll be overwhelmed. It's super strange. Being able to just refresh all my spell slots once, it feels such a lame ability, but
I feel like we got to talk about this one because I feel like when people think of sorcerer, they think of this one.
Wild magic, really?
Yes, because it's the one that it's known for the randomness of the class.
Yeah. Sometimes I forget it was Player's Handbook.
Because the only other wild magic class is the barbarian.
Don't do it.
Going straight back to the goat.
Come here.
That's what the goats are.
Come here. I don't know. She always just goes over there in that direction. She happens. So the wild magic, it is really interesting that this is an early class that they made because it is kind of obtuse to use.
Yeah,
there's a massive table. You have to look at it. Is it that annoying? No. Is it very different from a lot of what already existed? Yes. Is that bad? No.
I mean, hell, you could 37, 38, if you roll that, 1d6 flumps appear.
Flumps are pretty cool.
Flumps are pretty cool, but I mean, imagine that happened at like level 4.
Is Jamie a wild magic? What is Jamie? Jamie's cleric or something, right?
Yeah, bard.
Okay, yeah. Bard. Something. It's the same thing. They're all the same thing, spellcasters. I don't know. It's not up my alley.
No, I don't love it, but I think it's something that when people think about sorcerer, like, oh, that's the class that can do the random because it was in the player's handbook, probably.
Thanks to RPG Bot, 7 out of 50 of the options are potentially harmful to you or your allies in some way, and most of them are benign. So out of the 7, there's only a 1 in 50 chance of it just killing an entire low-level party when you roll on the table. That's not
1 in 50.
That's not
That's you're not insignificant. It's like if you're pulling from the deck of many things. There's something in it that could be really bad.
A fireball, when you wouldn't have been able to cast it at low level, it's centered on you and it explodes. Essentially, it's 1 in 50 chance. Are you kidding me?
That's straight back.
Oh my goodness! I need to spray it with lemon. She hates lemon, but then it'd be all sticky. It's cool if you're interested in luck control, or you're the type of person that always use a lot of luck in. It's not in Skyrim or those games, but like Fallout. This could scratch that itch.
True.
And if you're wanting to roll more dice at all, this will be that.
If you want to get some use out of that D100.
And I would say it is probably one of the more fun classes to play at lower levels because of that. You're taking time bomb. Maybe that is what it is. It's the soul of a sun that has expired and universes far has laid its seed. Oh, that's weird. Inside of you, and it is about to reverberate. Any moment it might explode.
You never know what's going to happen. I mean,
you never know.
That's a fun thing.
It is fun.
What our friend said, our lovely friend in our home game, she said what she likes about sorcerers is that they're flexible, that you can convert sorcery points to spell slots. You got the meta magic, obviously. It lets you pull off things no other class can do, like effectively concentrating on 2 spells at once.
Oh, yeah.
True. By twinning something like haste and doing the same amount of damage, like twinning disintegrate. Ooh, I never thought of twinning disintegrate. That'd be fun. The subtle spell, I don't think I mentioned that before, but using subtle spell in social situations to use suggestion or detect thoughts without anybody being aware. And suggestion also gets around counter spells because you can't see that someone's casting a spell. It just happens.
That is true. That's why I like Sorcerer, I think, more than Wizard, even though I think I basically said the opposite in the beginning and then I fixed it. Is because Wizard is just their spells. Now, I know they have some things that shape their spells and give their class and their subclass a bit of specificity or character, but a Sorcerer is all about funneling the magic through themselves and through their specific nature or gift. And that's a lot more fun to me than just playing a class that is the spells that are in D&D.
True.
Now, Koss, the one who did our Zelda 5e stuff in the Discord,
shout out
which
to
is
the
the
Discord.
link tree in the description, he's the exact opposite. He likes wizards a ton and hates sorcerers.
I can see that. I love wizards. I'm a big wizard fan. I thought when I first started playing D&D that all classes could utilize a spell book and write down spells. And so I don't know if you remember when we first started playing, I had spell books everywhere. And it turns out no one, you guys were like, can't do any of this.
I was even a great old one, the Tome Warlock, and couldn't. I was like, I got this is my book.
This will take me forever to write
I'm
down
a one
my stuff
book
in here.
kind of guy. I don't want more. Could technically. You think you need some gold to write them in there if they're ritual spells.
Yes, this is true. And the other thing that she mentioned is that it's really good for multi-classing. Can multi-class with several other things like Paladin, Warlock.
I wonder what you'd do with that one. There's some fancy artisan dice, I think is their name. They made some fancy coffee beans that have been pooped out by elephants and turned them into dice. And they're like $2,000 for the whole thing, I think.
Gross.
If you want a $200 coffee
Disgusting.
D20.
Disgusting.
They say it smells like coffee. I'd buy them, but that's a lot of money for resin and poop coffee.
And she said in the case of a paladin, which is what she did, you can effectively get 2 turns by quickening a spell like Hold Monster as your bonus action, then auto-critting the enemy in the same turn and smiting as your action. It's a lot of stuff.
So you're saying all those setup that I have to do and wait for it to be perfect, she can just
do it. Yeah.
That's really great.
But obviously, you have to make sure the whole monster has to stick, but you could let the whole monster would have a better chance of sticking because you could have your hound from the shadow magic right next to it,
or
gets
12 of them.
disadvantage, and then you do your smite on your turn.
How long do the hounds last? They have to have a target, right?
Yeah, I believe, I'm gonna double check. I think they only leave if the creature is destroyed.
Hold on. Couldn't she just like, I gotta scroll down to this again. So you'll see where I'm going with this in just a second. There's Divine Soul, Draconic, Shadow Magic. So
5 minutes.
It lasts for 5 minutes.
Yeah, so the hound disappears and reduces to 0 hit points.
What is the summon requirement?
Summon requirement is 3 sorcery points.
No, I mean like, what are the components? What do you need to, do you have to see them? Does it have to be a target?
Yeah, to target one creature you can see within 120 feet.
And they listen to you, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
or does it just go and chase it?
Just goes.
Okay, so you
doesn't have to hear you.
You couldn't just sit in an ambush and just like dog, and then go running.
Yeah, you'd have to be able to dog on that guy, dog on that guy.
And they jump in on their own. Okay,
yes, it appears within 30 feet of your target. And then on its turn, it can move only towards its target by the most direct route and can only attack its target.
Well, if you're listening, you just got a fun level up that you didn't know about for our home game, which will be a great time. Cerberus is cool. But I feel like for Sorcerer, it's a rather simple class to talk about because still, like Wizard, it is just casting spells through meta magic and some sort of funnel, and it does have a lower variety of subclasses.
Yeah, meta magic is really where you get lost in the weeds, like with Warlocks and Invocations, because there's a ton of them. But I would say there's definitely better ones than others. But
yeah, in terms of ones that are actually good, it's Quicken Spell,
Twin Spell,
and then anything else that you just kind of feel fun to have. I think that's about it.
Yeah, I'd say those are definitely the best.
Feats. Let's go see.
Some of these I don't really like.
Oh, not feats. No, fuck off.
The feat that you definitely do want is Meta Magic Adept.
Yeah.
So you get an extra Meta Magic stuff, and that's important.
If you need it. I remember looking at that one point, and I was like, there's like none that I want here. But if you're playing a character that wants it, like a Warlock, now it is very, very limited in what spells you can do, you cannot do. Like Eldritch Blast or a bunch of other stuff. So it's very sad. Makes me sad. I don't think I have much else outside of Sorcerer that I'd want. I would multi-class it. I don't know if I would play it on its own.
Really?
Yeah. The classes that I would play on their own are only Hexblade.
Oh, the Meta Magic, I want to double check. Meta Magic Adept does give you 2 more sorcery points as well.
Okay, so that's a bit more useful.
More sorcery points is always handy.
Yeah, Sorcerer falls in one of those that I would play a one-shot or multi-class for like up to level 6, because often you get a very characteristic ability at level 6 for sorcerers.
True.
That's about it.
I feel like doing a high level, like 18 level one shot with like an Abra Mind or Shadow Magic Sorcerer, that could be fun.
I want, and it's basically just going to be a Hexblade if they do this, but I want some sort of melee sorcerer. I want to see what they do with it.
Yeah, like what they did with Blade Singer.
Blade Singer, yep, Hexblade. Yeah. So almost all of the arcane casters have their melee.
We haven't had an arcane or Under the Arcana on sorcerers in a hot minute, I don't think.
Really? Neither Warlock either.
Yeah. So maybe that's coming up.
It could be. I think these are some of the classes they're probably looking at altering the most.
Probably.
Because Wizard's simple enough, and they've already chunked out some other stuff from everybody. Cats are mowing, man.
Yeah, the other cat's now going over to see what's happening.
It's been a strange day.
Which reminds me,
yes,
that right now, right this second, this is the last day you can do it when you're listening to this episode on Tuesday that releases.
Yeah, open D&D Beyond right now while we're saying this.
Yes, D&D Beyond now allows you to view the first chapter of Journeys to the Radiant Citadel or something like that. Radiant Citadel.
One of the two big books that they announced.
Yes, which comes out in July.
Yeah, so because they got Spelljammer, they got that one, and they got the Planar Portal one.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Dragonlance.
Dragonlance, yeah, that one. Oh, 4 things. That's a lot of stuff. It's one of those big announcements. So
I'm very excited for it. The free chapter, unfortunately, is only just the Radiant Citadel, like hub world area. But
we spent a lot of time
it
there.
Still looks cool. It looks really fun. So I'm excited. But if you want to get a little preview, to go to your D&D Beyond account and go get it now. This will be the last day you can get it for free.
This is the second time they're doing. Well, since the acquisition, a limited time to grab it.
In a week too.
Yeah, a week really.
So they did Vecna Dossier last week, or I guess technically a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. They're trying to force their way into something.
I have hair ties around all of them.
Maybe one cat called the other cat's help. Like, I'm figuring it out. Come here, give me your other paw.
They won't. They can't. She has to stop. I can't open my drawers now without taking something off of them first because they get inside of them. And I live in an apartment. I don't want to change the things.
Yeah. My mom did that for a while too. I remember growing up having to take off the hair tie every time I went over to it.
She can pull open the laundry room because the things that go in the door frame aren't strong enough. She just like pulls it open. I showed you
cats,
the video.
man.
Cats, man. I love them. But when I go hunting for a place wherever I live in the future again, I need to have child-proof cabinets.
Cat-proof.
They're basically just children. They're smart. If she had thumbs, I'd be dead. Well, I'd be upset. That's about it. Outside of that, thanks for hanging for an interesting vibe of this episode. Yeah. We are gonna probably try and think of a lighter topic because we want to get back on schedule.
Some fun.
Episode's going to continue to come out on Tuesdays. Mm-hmm. This week, maybe today or tomorrow, I'm buying the mics that we're going to be using. Finally, because I have the cash. That's the reason why we're waiting one more time.
It's coming.
So that there is no more room echo for those of you that if you
it'll probably sound better.
It will sound much
with
better.
Microphones in our face.
I mean, hell, we might even just use
we might even just
instead
end up
of
using
moving
those.
These. Like, these sound great, but it'd be awesome to have the same sound and signature on the microphone.
To change stuff. And it's behind the scenes stuff.
It's super fun. But anyways, there's my
perfect
cat.
Timing on the cat.
I love you, Sumi. You're such a pretty boy. So if you're interested in following us on social media, that is at Dungeon Crawl Pod, both Twitter and Instagram. We post on Instagram pretty much only when we're doing live play stuff or if we remember. But Twitter, sometimes we like things. So
and if you guys have been listening to the audio stuff, let us know your thoughts on the ad stuff that we there should be 2 in each episode.
Trying to only get like D&D stuff or video
stuff that would be
things
related to our listener base.
You would not believe the amount of real estate and like professional business and help stuff that there is.
If you don't like it, just let us know.
Yeah, because it just finds random times for it to put in there. But it's not an insignificant money. We can't get it yet because it's in beta.
It is in beta.
We may make our own ad at some point to throw it in there and see how it goes. But other than that, we do have a Discord. I mentioned it already. We play D&D in there sometimes. I think a lot of our games are finished.
Yeah, I think some are paused. Coming back at some point, I'm sure.
If you got something you want to run, get to know us and spend a bit of time in there, and we can turn you into a little GM or a player, and you can hang out with us and post memes and do whatever the heck else you want.
Post your cats.
Post your cats. It's not super restrictive, but there's a good amount of space for D&D stuff in there. Also in the link tree is our Patreon. If you ever feel like supporting us monetarily, other than the ads that are existing that you may or may not have listened to probably right around this time, you can do that, which would be super awesome. Elsewise, I don't know. The link tree looks super cool now, so definitely go give it a check. Mm-hmm. I think that's all I've got. Email, thedungeoncrawlpod@gmail.com. I'll see you there, pen pal.
Okay, who are you talking to?
Talking to my pen pal, man. I have to delete the emails.
And everyone else, please, everyone's not the pen pal, please go over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and rate us 5 stars. We would greatly appreciate. It's probably rating systems on other podcasting platforms, but these are the 2 biggest. These are the 2 biggest platforms that would definitely help us out a lot.
Stop a big day on 5.
Yes, please. I don't really know what the not the Dungeon Crawl, I know what that is. I don't really know what the rating system on Spotify does, if that helps an algorithm or something that I'm
sure
not aware of, probably.
I'm going to show
but I know the Apple Podcast one does. Yes. If you rate us 5 stars on there and write down a little review underneath, say, hey, love your stuff, or hey, I don't know, something stupid.
Yeah.
It would really appreciate. We really appreciate it, and it helps us have more people find us. So
Yeah. Feel free to go check out our streams. And you don't do too much anymore, but sometimes when the game comes out.
Busy boy.
I've also been busy, but I do stream at least like once or twice a week. Oftentimes it ends up being like a Pathfinder session that I'm doing with my VTuber friends. That
Gives like some Pathfinder.
Yeah, and that happens pretty much every week or every other week. There's 2 games going on right now. Outside of that, thank you. I don't know. Go play Warlock instead of Sorcerer, or play Coffee Lock and make your DM hate you. Ask them if they know what it is first, and if they say no, say, "Here, I'm going to send you this article. Find one that's like really shorthanded, so they don't get to."
Well, if they say
the whole
no, well, you have informed me of a crazy build. Is the Echo Knight Hexblade? So they say no to that. Just say, all right, I'll do this other pretty insignificant one.
With my Echo Knight Hexblade build and how it works at 13th level, I think it was 569 damage. And
do you remember the number that you did? If you rolled perfectly, it was like what, 2,000 damage or something?
That was on accident.
If you rolled perfectly, we counted up 500. Okay, so if you rolled perfectly and everything, it was 569
or 96. One of the two. 69 is funnier though. But that's at level 13, and you've used your hex.
Yeah, you used all your resources.
You've used all of your echoes, extra hits, action surge. So it's action surge gives you an extra 1. So it's
extra 1 slap.
2 hits, and then your bonus action hit, and your echo can do all 3 of those, and then you use action surge, and then you and your echo can attack again. And you can throw smites in there if you so want, but that gets rid of the bonus action. It's a lot of stuff. You blend things. It's a lot of fun. But outside and inside of everything, I don't know. You're listening to us. We're in your ear holes. Get us out of your ear holes. Go to sleep. Go to work.
See you next time.
See you next time.
For a great episode. Say hello to these cats. Or bye to these cats, actually.
Clingy today.
Peace.
On the streets.
Get out of here.